We're recording?
Bibbidi Bob's Burgers.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Hey.
All right, quiet down, everybody. Quiet down! Shut up! This is a burger from my family's restaurant, Bob's Burgers. You might think it's easy to pump these puppies out, but it's not. The burger business is a battle zone, people. First, there's the health inspector.
This is my violations notebook. I just filled it. It took 5 minutes in your kitchen.
That sounds bad.
It's a record.
Shut up.
Next, you gotta deal with the highly stressful work environment.
911, what's your emergency?
Tina, help! Fire!
And dealing with the press, it's a nightmare.
Do you think cows should be ground up for food?
Only if they commit adultery. But you do it all with a smile, because we're crazy about burgers.
Hey, buddy! Check out these buns!
Actually, it's my dad who's the crazy one.
Oh, Burger. You're cute.
You're cute too.
Really crazy.
Bob, I'm a castrated steer.
Yeah, I'm a married man.
Oh, also, a word to the wise. Workplace romances don't work.
You think I'm a bad kisser?
No.
Oh, yeah? Well, how about this?
Oh.
Is that my saliva?
In conclusion, is working in a burger restaurant a constant adrenaline rush? Yes!
Hands in. All right, sell some burgers!
Sell some burgers. Does my family live life in the fast lane? Yes.
Dad! Forget it. Not, no longer relevant.
Would I change it for anything in the world? Yes. But my father refuses to become a Russian assassin.
Oh, God.
This January, what's the juiciest, meatiest, most mouth-watering new comedy of the year?
Gene, drum roll, please. Okay, enough.
It's Bob's Burgers, opening Sunday, January 9th.
Gene.
On Fox.
So Toon-Mates. It's been a while.
It's been a really long time since we've recorded.
We skipped last time.
When's the last time we recorded? What's the last podcast that came out? Do it that way.
The last one that came out would have been the last Pixar one.
Seriously?
Yes, we haven't officially recorded an episode.
In 2 or more months?
2 or more months, and I didn't exactly put those ones out on time.
We're lazy.
Either. Yeah.
Well, it's also mostly my fault, because every time you ask, I'm like, yeah, I can totally do it, and then I just fucking don't. And then I ended up taking a 5-hour nap like I did yesterday when we were supposed to record.
Yeah, and I think the last time we skipped was when you went home for a week.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's okay. I don't know if anyone even listens to this, so it's hard to get metrics.
Eh.
So Bob's Burgers is what we're talking about today.
Yay, Bob's Burgers.
The-
That was supposed to be the theme song, but it went nowhere near the theme song.
No, that was
I don't
not
know what it
close.
was. I'm sorry. But yeah, Bob's, you've probably watched it. We don't really have to explain it to you if you're listening to this, because it's Bob's Burgers and everyone on the planet has at least seen an episode or a GIF.
An episode, probably GIFs.
You know who Tina is.
Yeah.
Is basically the main thing.
And you're probably like, and there's that kid who wears the
hat.
rabbit hat.
Yeah.
And that's, if you don't watch it, that's probably all you know, because that's kind of what I knew before seeing it.
Mm.
That, and everyone told me to watch it.
Yeah, and then Ricki forced you to. That's the
Yeah.
difference. Other people tell you, Ricki forces you.
Putting it on Front Street, I like Bob's Burgers a lot. It definitely took a season or so to get into it.
To really get into it?
Yeah.
At least I didn't make you start at episode 1.
No.
I started you in the middle at the...
I had seen episodes.
Yeah, that's true.
From the first season first.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, you'd said you'd seen some, but, like, Bob's, the first season is great, and the first season is...
The first season...
Out there, because it's under different, it's being produced by different people, I believe, or a different company.
It's also just... Well, it's a first season, so normally they don't know what kind of show they are, especially when now they're on their 6th season. The show is kind of
They've got
changed.
it down to a format and a formula, but the first season is a lot more vulgar and a little more, like, there's a few moments where we were watching the first season and we were like, fuck, how did they air this?
how did this not get canceled?
Yeah, how did this not get censored? And then we were watching the, well, we both watched it separately, the 107 Facts videos that we always watch before we do these, just in case there's anything obvious that we don't know. And it said that they've never had a word in a script that needed to be censored by the network.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked by that after seeing the first season.
Yeah, like... Well, I guess there's no bad words, but just the
the shit that
happens of that first season were, like, really out there, and I'm like, how the fuck did this get past its first season?
Mm-hmm. Well,
even the second season sometimes.
Apparently, again, credited to those videos that Channel Frederator puts out, they talked about how the original premise for the show was going to be about a family who makes cannibalistic burgers and sells them, which I did not know. But that's the premise of the first episode, is everyone thinks they are cannibals.
Not actually.
Mm-hmm. So they originally...
But that would have been great.
There was going to be some Sweeney Bob.
Sweeney Bob. Pretty much.
Oh my god, they should have an episode, Sweeney Bob. I'd be into that. That could be the next Halloween episode.
Could be.
Some Sondheim.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh man, that would have been dark. It would have aired 2 or 3 episodes and been canceled, but that would have been dark and awesome.
It would have been pretty great. That's actually just the spin-off about when Louise goes off and has her own adventures. That's what that'll be.
So Bob's Burgers airs on Fox, which Fox is a wild card. It was a thing for so long to know what Fox is, and then like shows like this or Brooklyn Nine-Nine or just other shows that have been on Fox lately.
Like good shows is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, short version.
Good and like diverse.
Yeah, I don't know what Fox is anymore. In short.
Money. Like I don't know, money. That's what Fox is. It's just people learning how to make money and going with what they know will make money despite their own personal thoughts about anything. Like, I mean, I don't know what to say. You know, the anchors of Fox News aren't going home and turning on Bob's Burgers. But the show's really good, about a family who makes burgers, if you didn't know.
And all their wacky... Well, I say wacky misadventures, but it's not like a Simpsons wacky misadventures where...
It's really out there when it's the Simpsons, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty much restricted to their restaurant or...
Their life.
Their area in their town.
It's wacky misadventures, and it'll get out there sometimes with, like, things that happen, but for the most part, it's pretty... It's...
Pretty reserved.
Pretty, true to life. Like, it's stuff that could actually happen. There's much verisimilitude. It's all very, it could happen.
Yeah.
I just wanted to use the word verisimilitude, so I tried as hard as I could to make it work naturally, but it didn't.
No. Well, that's the thing with a word like that.
Well,
there is no natural way to use it.
Well, when else am I going to use my theater degree, Travell?
I don't know.
I know that
Every
word,
other
and that's about all I have to show for it. But yeah, it's very down to earth, I guess. It's mostly about them just trying to get through the day.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly about Bob trying to get through the day, and the main obstacle he has to face is his family.
Yeah. I just want Bob's happiness. You know very well.
Yeah, Travell, at least once an episode, says, I just want Bob to be happy. And every time Bob is happy, which is usually when Bob is speaking to his food, Travell just gets the brightest smile on his face, like a kid on Christmas.
I don't know, the character is partially the character, it's partially just H. John Benjamin's voice. And when he's doing that, he sounds happy, and then that makes me more happy. It's just good.
It's just good stuff.
But Bob can't stay happy.
He can't stay happy because the show wouldn't work if he stayed happy.
Mm-hmm. He has to sacrifice some way.
He would have to divorce Linda and leave in order to be happy. I mean, Bob loves her, he does, but his kids and his wife are such an obstacle. Like, every time he finds something that's happy, there is some reason why he cannot keep it because of his family.
Mm-hmm. think like mostly shown in that one episode where he has the garden patch.
And he's so happy, but it's ruining his family's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main example of it, but there's little bits of it every which way. It's also, I mean, we talk about Bob a lot, but there's so many episodes that revolve around the kids. Like, you pointed that out when we were watching it. You were like, when's the last time we watched a Bob episode? I don't remember what season.
Bob's Burgers?
Yeah, I don't remember what season we were in where you started sort of getting a little angry that we weren't seeing enough Bob.
I think it was around season 5, maybe.
Something like that.
Somewhere in there, it just seemed to be a slew of kids.
It became very kid-centric, which was fine with me, because Louise is my favorite character.
Or even Linda more often.
Yeah. There's been some great Linda episodes, though. The Eat, Spray, Love episode was one of my faves. The one where it's her birthday, I think.
Oh. Yeah, and then she's...
Yeah, and then she gets, like, dropped off somewhere, and she decides that every year for her birthday she wants them to drive her out into the wilderness with nothing and leave her there, and she has to get home. That was a great episode. There's been a lot of really good episodes, and Linda's amazing.
I like them all. I was most against Gene in the beginning, but
yeah,
he
me
has
too.
really grown on me.
He has grown. I was most against him, too, because he's sort of the, I mean, he is the middle child, like, he's constantly looking for attention, and he's, like, kind of the artsy one, but he's so stupid. Like, I love Gene, but he is profoundly stupid.
Yeah.
And he is the physical comedy aspect of the show, for the most part.
That said, he also chimes in with the weirdest shit.
Yeah, but he is, like, physical comedy personified, but with a few twists. Like, nothing in the show is exactly typical, but that is the best way I could describe Gene.
Fair enough.
There's, like, physical comedy is personified in Gene, and then, like, awkward deadpan comedy in Tina, and then you've got dark comedy in Louise, and those are the children.
Pretty much.
With twists and personalities, but if you broke it down to really simplify it, that's what they're
just different.
And then Linda is wine mom humor.
Yeah.
Which I love, because I relate to it.
Sects of comedy.
Sects.
Sex.
Like, sects.
Sex.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just don't want the viewers to get confused. If you're, like, talking about sex
Different
of comedy.
sex.
The sexes of comedy. Sexy fight. What is it? Sexy fight dancing? No. Sexy dance fighting.
Oh.
Is an episode from the first season. That's what that made me think of. What else do we say? I don't know.
What else do we say? Might as well just go through my notes. For the most part.
I don't know what to say because the show's great.
Just little facts, factoids.
Like Bob's Burgers. Watch it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Watch it. Give it some. Don't.
Travell thinks you need to give it some leeway.
Yeah.
Give it some time.
Which
is true of any show, to be fair.
It's not just me, because that's how I got attached to the show. I had to give it a couple.
Mm-hmm. For the record,
like other
Travell's...
people I've talked to...
Before we had watched it, and before you watched it with me, you'd seen some other stuff. But when we watched it together, it was like a time when neither of us had anything to do. It was like a long weekend when we started it. And I was like... It started as, you need to understand me better, so I'm going to put on the boy band episode of Bob's Burgers. Because if you've ever seen the boy band episode of Bob's Burgers where they go to see the boy band... Oh, fuck, what's their time? Don't tell me.
I don't remember them. I just remember the Gravity Falls one.
Yeah, I'm thinking of several times, which is Gravity Falls. But when they go to see the boy band, which I can't remember...
Boys for Now?
Boys for Now is right. When they go see Boys for Now, which is the name of the episode... Louise is an exact portrait of me. So if you're listening to this and you don't know what I look like, just picture Louise at the Boys for Now concert talking about how she wants to slap him in the face, because that's me. Mm-hmm. If you've ever heard me talk about any celebrity I love, that is me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Look across to the wall.
Yeah, we're in my room, so if you look at my wall, which is just Oscar Isaac and One Direction right now. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much my life.
Which fit that category of...
That's true. Any boy band episode of any TV show, I relate to strongly. Because that is me. I love me a good boy band.
My favorite episode, which is, you said when we watched it how much you loved it too, was the samurai film.
That one was amazing. No. I can't remember the name of it now, but the father-daughter samurai films it was such a good episode.
And it had that estranged father.
Yeah, Travell does love his,
Estranged father trope.
The estranged father trope, but it's also one of those episodes that they put so much in it, and, like, Bob's Burgers, it's a ridiculous comedy show, and can get really, like, it has all ranges of humor, and sometimes it can get kind of, like, lowbrow, but in the good way. Mm-hmm. But that was one of those episodes that just had so much heart and emotion, and it felt longer than, like, 24 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Hawk and Chick from
Hawk
season
and Chick.
5.
Yeah, that's one of those episodes where you watched it, and it could have been, like, an hour. Because they put so much into it, and so much, like, heart, and so much story, and it was so good.
And it was so funny.
It was so funny, but so honestly emotional, too.
And it was...
Also a great Louise episode for me, because Louise is my girl.
Well, and also Louise and Bob's relationship
is amazing.
Always awesome.
It's always good. I love it when they show more of the parental relations with the kids. Like when they have the one episode about Linda and they go to all the places that Linda hangs out with the kids that Bob doesn't know about.
Oh, yeah?
Or like when Bob spends time with like Gina or whoever he spends time with. Like I love it when they go into their like individual relationships with the kids because a lot of the times the kids mostly seem like a nuisance, which is, I mean, true of all children. But when it shows like how much they all love each other, it's really sweet. Bob's Burgers has a lot of that.
Yeah. And it's not like a gross sweet. It's like a sweet you've grown to love.
It is, and it's also
just makes you happy inside.
A kind of like honest, I guess is a good word for it, because even when they're being sweet and they're all hugging each other and loving each other, they usually say something to acknowledge our life sucks. Like they're like, I don't know, there's just so many times where half the time when they end up all hugging and loving each other, everything around them is a disaster. Like, it's like, they're in the middle, hugging each other and talking about how much they love each other, and everything else is on fire, because the kids or someone fucked something up terribly. And they always have these moments of love where it's like, you're all idiots, but so am I, and I love you, which is usually the way it goes.
Yeah. Back to the Hawk and Chick episode for a moment. It also, with that one in particular, did, I don't know, American television likes to make fun of foreign movies, TV, anime. And they,
especially anime.
Yeah, but they rarely do it well.
It's usually vaguely racist.
It's vaguely racist, but it's also, they use the same jokes about it.
For
the last
like
20
dubbing
years.
joke where their mouth keeps moving, but they've just said hello and like stuff like that.
And they've been doing that for like 20 years at this point. That said, I think they did the Bob's one very well. And it was also... I'm a fan of samurai movies. I'd watch the shit out of Hawk and Chick.
Of course you would, because it's a father-based, like, father-child-based movie, and it's a samurai movie.
Yeah, it's like...
But yeah, they do it in a way... I think a huge part of it is the fact that they have the stars of the show in it. So it has them as actual characters instead of just as punchlines.
True.
I think that's a big part of the change.
It does add to it that way.
Season 5 had a lot of great episodes, just looking at the list that you had up there.
Yeah, like
Season 5 had some of my favorite episodes.
Eat Spray Linda.
The
House Trap one, which I fell asleep at the end for.
House Trap was such a good episode, and you passed out. And I had to tell you at the end what happened. Because you woke up and I was like, just so you know, she did it. She killed her husband. And you were like, what? It's like, she killed her husband, Travell. It's one of the best episodes we've seen.
I don't know, I just couldn't make it through that night.
But yeah, just looking at this episode list, like the Tina Taylor Soldier Spy,
Vesperger.
the Gale Tales, the Millie Churian Kennedy, anything. Millie is such a terrifying character.
Yes,
for those, like, if you don't know the name, Millie is the girl who's obsessed with Louise and wants Louise to be her best friend.
But is a terrifying, obsessed stalker.
Yeah, she terrifies the shit out of me, so I'm glad they use her sparingly, because Her stare, her blank, terrifying stare, puts a real chill through me.
It's something about her character design, too.
She's got these eyes. These eyes like a fucking rat. And it's terrifying.
And
like, they're just blank and dead and ready for murder.
It's almost, like, more than that. Like, it's her whole design is just spooky.
The design in the show. Like, as much as any cartoon has, like, a base for what a human being looks like they all have usually the same nose and stuff, this show does a really good job with awesome designs. And really, like, really interesting designs. Like, Mr. Fish Odor is such a cool design with, like, an eye patch and an all-white suit. Like, they do a lot with their, I don't know what you would call it, like a palette?
Yeah, the character palette in general. They do, which I've said to you in the past, they kind of look like thumbs. Some characters more than others.
Yeah, because they don't really have chins.
Yeah, so they can kind of end up looking like a thumb with arms and legs.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But it's still very well done, and everyone looks unique enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just looking like you're just on Google Images, but all these, like, unique characters that are so distinct.
Mm-hmm. And,
if you don't know and you're just searching for things to say, can I interject with something completely unrelated to what we're talking to?
Fair enough.
So I'm scrolling through the Tumblr Bob's Burgers tag, as I do when we're doing these things, just to think of something to talk about.
Yes.
I guess there is... Well, I mean, I knew these things existed, but, like, sexy cosplay groups. And I came across a sexy Linda Belcher cosplay. And I don't know, I just felt like I had to bring it up, because how does this exist?
I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel uncomfortable. She's wearing, like, the huge glasses and the big, like, wig, and Linda is not a... I mean, love her, but not a sexy character. I mean, shout out to all you moms out there. You're beautiful, love yourselves. But you don't want to be here, you don't want to be in bed, and you don't want to be wrapped up in somebody, and you hit the right spot and you hear, alright! Like, that's not what you want to hear. So, no, she's not exactly what I would call a sex symbol.
Part of that might be because she's voiced by a man, which...
No, because he does a good job of making it a feminine voice.
But it is jarring to someone who's not used to it, or...
Alright! I'm not good at impressions, but it's not going to stop me.
But I don't know, going along the line, it fits with the character. I don't know what else to say. That was just kind of weird, seeing sexy cosplay of that.
Yeah.
I guess it must exist, but...
That was uncomfortable, but it was a fun level of uncomfortable. It was like, oh my god, this exists. I'm so uncomfortable right now. Loving it. Also, talking about, like, the first season and how it was kind of iffy and how it was kind of experimental and all this jazz, the cast for this show is fucking awesome. Like, not even just... The main core cast, with the exception... Well, no, not really. I was gonna say that the main core cast is mostly unknown, but that would have been a huge lie.
No, there's Kristen Schaal and
H. John Benjamin were the two I was gonna say.
I think Dan Mintz did...
He's knowable.
Something. He was a comedian before this, so he was at least in the same way Kristen Schaal did her comedian stuff before.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, well I knew her. Like I think a lot of people know her voice quite easily, but
it's very
distinctive. But I didn't know the other two. I didn't know the voice actors of Tina and Jean. But like even like little side characters that only show up once in a while, killer. Like, we've got, like, Aziz Ansari and,
fucking Kevin Kline as Mr. Fish Odor.
Yeah, and, Sarah Silverman and her sister, whose name I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's,
Sarah and... I'm not gonna pretend I know. I don't know. I'm sorry, other Silverman sibling, if you're listening.
I'm cheating. I feel bad.
You're Googling?
Because I love the Silvermans.
Well, they're great, and they are amazing as the,
Laura.
Oh, Laura. Okay,
Laura's
cool.
her sister.
Sorry, Laura.
I didn't watch a lot of her show, mostly because it was really dated. Early 2000s.
I love the early 2000s. I'd probably be right into that.
No. You know how you brought up in Gilmore Girls how, you could just bash around gays for a certain period of time?
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
In
watching
the
Gilmore
Silver
Girls has made me
Ceremony.
realize that even in a pretty left-leaning show, when it was like 2006, it was chill to just be outright homophobic.
Yeah, I only
It's not even homophobic, it's like just stereotypes as a joke. We should probably just cut this whole section out.
It's fine. I didn't get
Content!
I didn't really get into the Service of Women show because it was very stereotypical.
But she's great
She's
as
great.
Andy
Love
or
her.
Ollie. Whoever is Andy and whoever is Ollie, I'm not sure if they switch. They are amazing. Now I'm hugging you. Now I'm hugging you. I love the Pesto kids. I feel so bad for them because their dad is such
Jimmy
a juice.
Jr.,
Douche. I said juice because you.
Juice.
Sorry.
Sorry. I like Jimmy Jr. okay.
Jimmy Jr. is kind of a fuckboy, but
He likes to dance, though.
he does love to dance. Another great episode is
And-
when him and the other
and,
dancer face off for Tina.
Him and Zeke have some sort of relationship.
I'm not a huge Zeke fan. I'll be honest.
I think there's something going on.
You think everyone in Bob's Burgers is gay. Why don't you share your Bob's Burgers theories with the listeners?
Okay, I'd been sitting on it a while, but we got to season 5 or so. No, I think it was season 6 where I said it out loud, because it was very, very obvious in that episode. Where I got to the point and said, Bob is gay.
Okay, but he's, like, canonically bisexual.
Yes.
He
And
said, I'm straight mostly. So, I mean, he's canonically bisexual.
yes,
but you're
he is.
convinced he is straight up gay.
I
I don't know if you're convinced, but the theory
No.
is there, and it's pretty strong. I'll be honest. You support it pretty well.
And even as bisexual goes, the only woman I've ever noticed him having any attraction to is Linda, his wife.
I think that's what they call monogamy, actually.
But not,
I'm no expert, but...
I mean, like, every show has the male husband character, the sexy secretary or something, and then you notice...
Every show does not have
Okay,
that.
no, that was very...
Every show is not
wrong.
a Chuck Lorre production, okay?
Ooh, Chuck Lorre.
Yeah, Chuck Lorre, you suck.
Um,
Maybe cut that. I need to work one day.
nah. I mean, well, sorry, not for that reason.
Ricki, fuck your
I'm just
career.
letting Chuck Lorre
You're just letting Chuck Lorre know he sucks.
I don't think he's gonna cry over it. If he does, he can wipe it away with his money.
Yeah, that's true. He'll be fine.
But okay, straight characters in sitcoms generally will show attraction to members of the opposite sex, even if they're in a monogamous and loving, loyal, monogamous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't been shown with Bob at all.
Maybe he's just super monogamous.
He could be. He very much could be. That
You're just
said,
too used to misogyny.
That said,
Where you're like, Bob is not misogynistic enough, he must be gay.
that said, he shows a lot of attraction to multiple men over the series.
That is true. He's got that man crush in... That's the one that really tipped it over the edge for you, when he has that man crush on,
the not Indiana Jones.
He's an archaeologist.
Yeah, not Indiana Jones. In I think it was season 6 for that episode, but yeah, where he has a man crush. I think they must have used that word more than once.
Oh, they use it so many times.
And just how he generally acts around men, or even the turkey guy, where he says the line, "Well, mostly straight."
He also says, like, you're way out of my league and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Bob is gay. Bob is bisexual.
But he's pretty
But
gay.
I think he's leaning more to the men.
I
Despite
think he's got
being
a preference for women.
despite being in a loving marriage with Linda, I think he leans more to the men.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Oh, speaking of you mentioned, like, how he doesn't show, and I sort of mentioned he's not very misogynistic thing. The show is super positive. Like, it's not a negative show, which I love, because usually adult cartoons, like, even ones I love, are really negative. It's like, life is terrible, life is awful, let's laugh about it.
Yeah.
This one is, even when life is terrible, it's such a positive show.
Mm-hmm. Like, that said, or here's a comparison that also shows that Family Guy sucks. Tina and, the daughter in Family Guy, their roles aren't that different.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
But see how Tina is loved by the family and other characters. Well, the point of Meg, I think it's Meg in Family Guy.
Yeah, it's Meg.
All they do is shit on her.
Yeah.
But I don't think their characters are that different.
They're different in the sense that Meg is obnoxious and annoying and loudmouthed and awful, but that's everyone in Family Guy.
True.
They're different but similar in different ways. I don't know what to say other than that. I guess, like, family position-wise, they're the same, but other than that, they're mostly different, besides the fact that they're both kind of awkward and dorky. But yeah, it's good to point out, like, the fact that this is a family that actually loves each other, as opposed to a lot of other shows where the family, you know, the parents are always fighting and they should clearly not be together, and the wife is, like, always naggy and the husband's lazy, and the children all hate each other and are constantly trying to kill each other. The Belchers are almost 100% of the time on each other's side. Especially the kids. The kids work together constantly. Even Louise, who, like, extorts her siblings. If someone else goes for her siblings, that is fucking it. You are dead.
That sibling relationship is most admirable.
It is an amazing relationship. And it's the same, like, the parents, the kids, they all know each other's flaws, and they all know that life's not perfect, and they are on one another's side 100% of the time, and it's one of the things I love about the show, is the strong sense of family and the positivity of it.
It is very well done in those aspects. Well, in most aspects, I can't think of anything really bad about Bob's Burgers. They don't give Mort any lines anymore.
No,
Or shown him in a while, actually.
Yeah, Mort is in the first season a lot more, and then he's kind of just gone.
For a while, he was there. He just didn't say anything.
No.
But I've noticed in, like, this new season, I don't think I've seen him.
He doesn't have time. Teddy is the main guy. He's the main customer. Bob's best friend.
Love Teddy.
I also love Teddy. Apparently, I would have never thought this. Apparently, he's spoken in every episode. According to that 107 Facts, which I found doubtful, because there's been episodes where they've been away from the restaurant the whole time. But I can't say unfailingly, so according to my citation is Channel Frederator.
Yeah, apparently Teddy talks in every episode.
Which is...
Not surprised.
I'm surprised.
It's not too surprising, because even in an episode where they're away from the restaurant all day, they could do a cutaway where Teddy's at the door being like, hello?
That was a good impression. I liked it.
Hey, Bobby. Anyways.
Hey, Bobby.
So it's not that surprising, per se, but it's I also haven't checked my facts, so we're going off their facts.
Yeah, but we cited them, so it's fine. All the blame goes to them.
Yeah. Moving on to the creator, Lauren Bouchard.
Something like that.
I'm looking at my wrong
Yeah,
page.
Lauren Bouchard. You're correct.
Have you watched any of his other shows?
No, I looked into some of them, and I've heard I've heard about the first one before, and then I re-heard about it, like, today when I was looking stuff up, but I haven't watched any of it.
Dr. Katz?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd heard about it before because I was considering watching more H. John Benjamin stuff, and then I looked into H. John Benjamin, and I was like, oh, yeah, no. Like, it's kind of funny, because this week we're doing Bob's Burgers, and next week we're doing Archer, and I was like, oh, we should just do, like, an H. John Benjamin week, and then I thought to myself, I am not fucking watching Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I draw the line.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't get into it when I was a kid, and I wasn't allowed to be watching
I
those
never.
channels.
That was one of the ones I never checked out on the down low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because...
But I actually watched the first episode
everything
a little
on...
while ago. It was actually held up pretty well and was funny.
everything...
And I've watched other Adult Swim shows of that time, and I like them, but they're definitely not quality or 100% of the jokes. That one actually held up pretty well for the first episode. That said, I've only seen the first episode.
Everything on Teletoon Detour or Teletoon After Dark, depending on when you were watching and how old you are.
In Canada.
It changed names. It was Teletoon Detour for me.
It's Adult Swim everywhere else.
Anyway, because we watched it on Teletoon, because that's the Canadian channel for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was better because you weren't allowed to watch it. Like, I wasn't allowed to watch anything on that channel because my mom was like, hell no, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I still watched all of it. And everything is 10 times funnier when you're not allowed to be watching it. Anyone over the age of 11 who still likes Family Guy, you probably shouldn't be friends with. Because it's only funny as long as you're not allowed to be watching it, and as soon as you're allowed to watch it, you're like, oh shit, this sucks. And now that I'm allowed to watch these things, I can go find quality programming. So for me, everything I look back at from Teletoon Detour, I'm just like, was that actually good, or was I just not allowed to be watching it, so I loved it? But I didn't even like Aqua Teen Hunger Force when I wasn't allowed to be watching it. So that means I probably just don't like it.
Fair enough. Kind of in part of my animation kick was going back and watching watching a lot of the shows that I wasn't allowed to, but still did.
Mm-hmm.
Caught some of. So like I watched C-Lab 2021 and other shows that were on at that time, Clone High. Some held up, others I dropped after a couple episodes.
Fair.
That said, haven't really watched any of Lauren Bouchard's other shows.
I'm considering the guy in the... I keep bringing this up, the Channel Federator video, talked really highly about Dr. Katz.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Dr. Katz before.
I'd heard about it before. I hadn't heard anything in specific. He spoke really highly of it. So I'll consider. I still haven't even watched Clone High. Like, I'm behind on a lot of things.
We should watch Clone High.
Yeah, I'm like...
so good.
I have a feeling I'd really like it.
It was so good. It was way better than I expected it could have been. Do you ever watch home movies?
Nope. But I read the summary of it today when I was looking stuff up, and I thought to myself, this sounds right up Travell's alley. I don't know about
Here's
me,
the
but
thing.
It sounds like it's right up Travell's alley. Also reminded me of Being Ian.
Yeah. I definitely watched it when it was on. That said, I cannot remember anything past these characters, which I recognize the designs of. Like, I don't even remember this premise.
Because, yeah, it's a show about a kid making home movies with his friends. Which, again, sounds a lot like Being Ian, which was a Canadian cartoon for kids that was amazing. I loved it. I loved that his family was... I think they were from Newfoundland. Because they sang songs and did things that me and my family did, which I loved. I loved the theme song. The theme song was a jam. If you're sitting at home and you don't know it, you go look up the Being Ian theme song and try to tell me that is not a jam. We haven't talked about Bob's Burgers in so long.
We'll get back to it. We're talking about Lauren Bouchard, sort of.
In general, so it works.
Okay, I liked Being Ian, but it wasn't enough of the movie jokes.
Shocking!
Even at the time it was on, and I wasn't as much as a movie buff as I am now, I still found they didn't do enough of it for that being the premise of the show. I liked it. I watched it. I watched pretty much all of it. It was still not what I was looking for entirely.
Travell's critique is, they weren't obscure enough.
True.
He does not deny it. But yeah, no, I haven't seen any of his other work. Seen a lot of H. John Benjamin's other work, which seems to align pretty closely to what this guy makes.
Yeah.
Because they've worked together so much.
Together, yeah. I really want to watch Lucy, Daughter of the Devil. I've seen some clips, and it's short, so it'd be, 11 episodes, so it wouldn't be too long to watch. And it's got H. John Benjamin playing the devil, so...
I thought he played a tumor.
That he was the devil, tumor from the world.
Oh.
It was a joke.
Oh, cut that.
And then he made Bob's Burgers. So kind of, I don't know what Dr. Katz was on, but kind of like sticking with the...
Family business angle?
No, more just, well, I guess, yeah, kind of. I was more saying like Adult Swim and Teletoon at Night.
Well, yeah, that's what he
Type
makes.
shows,
But like
and then
even
moving
looking
to
at the
Fox.
picture of Dr. Katz, it's the same color scheme, and a character that looks similar,
Comedy Central.
and it's about, you know, a guy running a business and his family.
True. I was more just going that he moved to Fox after these shows, where normally it seems that show creators like this kind of move from Fox to do something
A little more edgy.
edgy on Adult Swim, or Adult Swim move to FX.
Some of the best comedy shows are on Fox right now, though.
True. And I think I'll get a lot more into this sort of like moving from network to network when we get to Archer.
Because they actually did move.
Yes, but I've also watched every show by that guy.
Okay. Cool.
I think. Was
Or
that
close
on the
to.
script?
Anyway.
Anyways, Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, so now that we've explored its background a little bit.
So that Archer episode.
Yeah, there's an Archer... No, there's a Archer episode of Bob's. There's not an... Wait, what?
There's an episode of
There's
Archer.
an episode of Archer with Bob in it, and his family.
Yes.
Who are also... Yeah. Okay, sorry, I got confused. It's like H. John Benjamin Inception.
Which, for there was a couple Bob's fans I knew who hadn't watched Archer, and that was the only thing they knew about Archer.
That was the first thing I knew about... Well, no, not the first thing, that's a lie. But that was one of the things that actually drove me to watch Archer. Because before that, the only thing I knew about Archer was I'd seen a small clip from one episode, and it's the episode where he goes on a rage... What is it? I can't remember what he calls it. A rampage. He goes on a rampage from the cancer treatment. And then he beats the shit out of those two Irish guys. The only clip I had seen was him beating the shit out of those two Irish guys. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand it because I didn't know what the hell was going on.
No.
I'd only seen that clip, and I was so confused. So I had no idea. And then I was like, this is supposed to be a show about a spy. I don't understand. I thought it was about a guy who had cancer. I'm so confused. And the only reason I watched that clip was because Darren Criss was in it. And he didn't even sound like himself. So I was just all around confused about what Archer was. So before going into Archer, I knew that he at one point had cancer and tortured some Irish guys, and that he once worked at a burger joint. I knew the most un-Archer things about Archer.
You really did.
Yeah.
You had a completely different vision of the show.
I did, and then I started watching it, I was like, this is not what I thought this show was.
Yeah. I was about to go my experience with Archer, but I was like, we'll just get into that when we do Archer.
So this is a
episode.
little sneaky peek of next week, or week after, when we do Archer.
So Bob's. I don't really know what else. It's good.
Details, I would say, is another great thing about the show. Is all the little details. Like, even in the opening, all the little puns of the restaurant next to them and of the truck that drives by.
It's kind of like The Simpsons opening, with the chalkboard and then the couch gag. Just kind of continuing that sort of trend.
Yeah, it is.
Tradition that's in shows, which is always neat.
And
but it's not
there's
exactly
so
new.
many of those little details in Bob's. There's the burgers of the day, and there's...
True, there's the burger today, which, for the most part, isn't brought up. It's just on the wall.
It's just there. And there's other stuff, too. Just like other even stores you see in the background and stuff. Like, there's so many details to the world they live in. Like, just the town. Like, when you go around the town, all the people in the town, every little background character is interesting. Everyone has a personality. Every store you see is funny. Every little interaction, no matter what the interaction is, they find some way to make it fun. Even if it's just to progress plot. Everything is somehow fun, and I love that about the show. They're just not lazy, is the best thing I can... Best way I can put it, is just, there's no aspect of the show in which they are lazy.
True. They're also on a wharf, which is kind of, it's like a nice setting.
Wonder Wharf.
Right by the sea.
It's a nice setting on the surface with so much corruption underneath it. Like the fact that the entire Wonder Wharf amusement park is falling apart and none of it's up to code. And like there's like all the stuff Mr. Fish Odor is doing behind the scenes, like under the table type stuff. There's so much going on there. All this corruption that Bob stumbles his way into finding out about occasionally.
Well, to be fair, most of the time Fish Odor just slips.
Yeah.
And then either does or doesn't hold Bob accountable for knowing that information.
Yeah. Bob is just trying to live his life, and he just stumbles into all the corruption and all the mess that comes with Fish Odor being his landlord. Fish Odor, another great character. Another great thing they do in the show is they have certain characters that are great for what they are, but they're also very grating to the audience because that's their goal. But they use them sparingly enough that it's okay. Characters like Gail.
I was going to say, that sounds like you're bringing up Gail.
Yeah. Gail, Linda's sister, is very grating, but they use her just the right amount. Where she's grating for comedy, and then she's gone when she's no longer funny.
And they have her for 1 or 2 episodes this season. Maybe 3 or 4. But still on the low side. So it's not like she's a regular cast member.
Yeah.
And she is the worst. I didn't think she was bad until... it was the one episode where Bob ended up having to drag her through the snow because she fake broke her leg.
Oh, that was terrible.
I thought she was like, yeah, she's kind of annoying, but you know, family, they gotta love her.
Nope. Not after that.
No, she is the worst.
She is an odd one, that one. But yeah, and there's a few characters like that who are super grating, but used in the right amount, they can be funny. Gail is one of them. I think Mr. Fish Odor, if he was used too much, would be kind of...
Yeah, like, he's the eccentric billionaire.
Yeah.
But he only has a couple episodes a season, or just, like, little parts in
each
an episode.
Yeah, which is the right way to use them. One character I can't stand, every time he has an episode, I'm just like, fuck, gotta go through this, is the health inspector, Hector?
Oh.
Is that his name? I hate him.
Is that his name?
I think that's his name, Hector. Either way, I don't feel bad for him. I don't pity him like they usually set him up to be pitied. I don't think he's, like, tragically funny. I just think he's annoying. He is so petty and so stuck, and he holds grudges, and he's just awful. But there's so many good side characters. So
but that said, whenever we get him, we also get his
the
partner.
one who looks like the character from Beavis and Butthead. What is his partner's name?
I'm blanking on both. I think it's Beavis. He looks like. Or is it Butthead? Shit, I don't remember. I only watched the movie. I tried watching that show and I couldn't get into it. The movie's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of great side characters. Like, those are the ones that kind of grate me. But then there's characters like, what's Aziz Ansari's character's name? Dale? No.
Daryl.
Yeah. Daryl is one of my favorite characters on the show. I love Daryl. He's so funny. All their band of characters, whenever they have a kids episode and they go to the school, that entire school is populated with great characters. Ron is the other health inspector.
Who is awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, so you have to put up with Hugo.
Hugo, that's his name.
The lead health inspector. But at least you get Ron.
That's true.
So it's like a give and take.
Yeah, it's a give and take.
Yeah, like the school.
Like, it's amazing to me how many amazing characters there are in this show. Like, you go to that school and every single person they come in contact with, you're like, oh, I love this guy.
Or recently, with the little plot with the secretary, also voiced by
H. John Benjamin. That was a problem in the recent episode, the Valentine's Day episode that just happened, where it's all about school announcements. The secretary is also voiced by H. John Benjamin, but his voice is so recognizable at this point that every time he spoke, you could just hear him, and you knew it was him, and you were very aware of that, and it kind of took you out of it every time.
One thing from the 107 Fact video that was, like, really interesting, is that he has said that, playing Bob is more of a challenge to him than playing Archer.
I'd heard that before. I watched a Q&A with them, or a panel of some sort, and he said that the reason Bob was so much harder to play is because Bob is much more positive and much more patient. Like, when Archer's annoyed, he gets mad. He says that, H. John Benjamin said that the hardest part of being Bob is putting up with Linda. He said that he hates Linda, and he doesn't understand why Bob stays with her, and it's really hard to pretend to love her. Like, H. John Benjamin hates Linda, and he doesn't have the patience for her, which I think is kind of funny, but also kind of sad, because I was like, leave Linda alone. She just wants to drink her wine and be loved.
True.
John Hamm is the toilet.
Yeah,
There's-
like the ballistic guest actors.
there's
John
so many
Hamm
good
was
ones.
the toilet.
John Hamm was a toilet, and, like, Bill Hader's Mickey and Bob's father.
Love Mickey. Didn't realize he held up a bank because we watched these out of order.
Oh, yeah, we watched them out of order, and I didn't explain it to you.
I was like, oh, it's Mickey. He's the lovable crook.
Yeah, you're like, he's the
Well,
lovable small-time crook, and I never told you, so then when we watched the first episode, you're like, Mickey holds up a bank? I was like, yeah, that's how he's introduced, we all knew that, and you were like, I didn't know that. I was like, oh, sorry, yeah, Mickey almost kills people. That's how he's introduced, and then he becomes a lovable character, which, you know,
I mean,
that's different.
He's pretty lovable in that episode.
He's
he just
lovable in that
happens
episode
to
because
hold up a bank.
He's like the worst bank robber ever, but he's adorable to watch him try. Like, at the end, you just want to be like, you did your best. Here's a juice box.
Yeah. Love him. Will Forte as
Upskirt Kurt.
That was a great episode.
That was a great episode where she headbutts him.
Mm-hmm. Or just Bob having faith in Linda, but everyone else telling him not to.
Another example of how great, like, this family is and how different it is from so many other sitcoms.
Even the kids.
Yeah, even the kids were like, Mom's probably gonna cheat with this guy, huh? Like, I mean, you've seen him, you know what his reputation is, and Bob's like, no, she loves me, it's fine. And she holds true to that. Mm-hmm. He tries to kiss her, she headbutts him. Doesn't she leave him on that island, too?
I think so. Or...
Linda's great. I love Linda.
He gets a lot of comeuppance.
For all her, you know, annoyance, I fucking love Linda. Because I relate to her sometimes. Like, she just wants the life she, like, reads about and sees on TV, but she doesn't realize that that's not a real life. Mm-hmm. She's one of those women who, like, reads Martha Stewart books, but doesn't understand that that's all bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, of the family, like, none of the characters are bad. I don't hate any of them.
No.
And like I said earlier, Gene took the most growing used to, but now I love him as much.
Mm-hmm. It's a great family. But yeah, I think that's my favorite thing about it, is just, like, the love and the positivity of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
And like, that said, it can get dark and weird as comedy, but it's still positive. And like, even they can be put in threatening situations every now and then. But it's still like, you know things are gonna work out. And even the people who are being bad tend to get, like, let off pretty easy.
Yeah. I would say, like, it's... Out of all of the adult animated sitcoms, it is the most feel-good show. It is a great feel-good show. And it doesn't condemn anything or anyone.
I was about to say Simpsons is pretty feel-good, but then I remembered the whole, you little, and... Although I don't know if they've done that in a while.
I don't think they do that anymore.
No.
The child abuse thing.
Yeah.
It's like, The Simpsons with Homer choking out Bart was like the modern version of one of these days, bam, right to the moon.
Pretty much.
But, what was I going to say? Oh, that it's a great feel-good show, and that, like, just thinking about it, it is like a show that any lifestyle that someone could be happy in that they show up in, because there's a lot of people from many walks of life who show up in the show. Mm-hmm. It's like, you happy? You do you. You go.
Yeah.
Like, even Linda is like, whenever they talk, there's been a few times, I don't know why it keeps coming up in the show, but they talk about, like, prostitutes a lot, or, like, sex workers, and Linda's always like, you go, girl. Like, or, you work.
Well...
Or, like, sheesh cab Bob.
Oh,
Where
yeah, I
he-
was about to bring up that episode where he becomes a cab driver and befriends a bunch of prostitutes and invites them to Tina's birthday party.
Yeah. A bunch of, I think they're drag queens. Mm-hmm. And they're awesome characters. They're like...
I think he also has a line in that one where he's like, I might be gay, and I also think I did crack.
Bob is great. But, like, and yeah, it's just, like, they're such an accepting family of anything because they've been through so much shit that anyone who shows up, they're just like, that's your life? That's cool. You live it. I love that episode, too. And I love those characters because they have so many... Bob's Burgers does this a lot of times, but characters will show up for one episode, and they give them so much. Like, those 3 characters who he invites to Tina's birthday party, who end up saving the day, are like, yeah, they're, you know, his friends of the night, or whatever he calls them, but they're also, like, super funny, and super loving, and super individual. It's not like they're just...
Stereotypical.
Yeah, they're not stereotypes, and they're not, I don't know what else to say, but they're... And they teach him, like, life lessons. I love that they have, like, these talks where they give him all this wisdom and it blow Bob's mind, and he's so open to it. I love the attitude of the characters in that way. I love how accepting the show is.
Or,
Which adds to the feel-goodness.
even with the Brony episode.
Oh my god, that episode! I forgot all about that episode till this moment. That's an amazing episode.
I reminded of it earlier when I looked over and saw your little...
Oh, my little pony toy that's on my bedstand.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, the Brony episode. And, where Bob gets his tattoo.
Oh yeah, his partial tattoo of his own face. His own mustache.
I forgot what it was. I didn't remember that. I thought, as far as I could remember, it was just like, they squiggled, and then it got stopped. Love that episode.
Great episode.
It does not paint bronies in the best light.
Okay,
not that
but
I can completely
is there a way to
defend
do
them.
that? Is there a light that makes the bronies look good? That's what I ask you.
No.
How many gels can you put in a light before you make a brony look good? Gels are what you use to color the lights on a stage. There you go, theater degree used twice. 2 more times than anyone ever said I'd be able to use it. Bam.
I don't know. I've explained to you in the past that I met bronies through playing Magic, and they were okay dudes before I came across the internet connotation. And to be, I don't know, with any fucking group, there's fucking weirdos and creepies. Brony seems to be leaning much more to that.
You say that, like, you're like, I met them through Magic and they seemed like okay guys at the time. Reminds me of in, BoJack Horseman, when Todd accidentally befriends a bunch of skinheads. Because they seemed okay. That's what that reminds me of. He's like, me, as a white dude, playing a video game, talking to these guys, they seemed great. I loved them. That's what that reminds me of. Sorry for comparing you to skinheads, bronies.
That was... and we watched the first episode, and I was like, hey, that's pretty good.
Of what?
My Little Pony.
Oh yeah, we watched the first episode because I was telling everyone how I can make fun of bronies because I've seen a lot of that show because I like it. I was telling everyone how they all matched archetypes.
Yeah, and I don't know so much now. I've said in the past, yeah, I could see myself watching it all one day.
I like it, but I also love.
Now there's just so much.
I also love children's cartoons. Like, I'm
Really?
very open about the fact that I love children's cartoons. No, not even just, like, the ones we talk about, like Gravity Falls. Like, I
was gonna say, that's most of what we've done podcasts on.
I quite enjoy, like, I have a 2-year-old goddaughter, so, like, I enjoy Sophia the First. If she's watching Sophia the First, I'm like, fuck yeah, better than La La Loopsy. I'll sit down and watch some fucking Sophia the First. I can get into some Sophia the First. Which is a show on Disney Junior for toddlers, so maybe that says more about me than anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. A good variety.
We also are, this is coming from us who watched multiple Monster High movies in one night.
To be fair, there were other reasons, and I did complain that I had no idea what was going on.
They had some pretty convoluted plot.
They did.
Monster High nights.
Yes.
Good times.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I fucking cherished them. And I also watched the Barbie movie, so I can't say anything about My Little Pony. But
And I don't know what I can say about my taste in general. I've been watching all the Dragon Ball Z movies.
that's different. That's nostalgia. You can justify anything by saying nostalgia.
Yeah, but not a lot of them have been good.
But you still enjoy them. Yeah. Because you like the
to a degree.
characters and you like the show.
I watched the second Broly one was really bad. That's been the worst so far.
We
And
are all over the place today.
I was pretty actively yelling at it and saying, "This is bad. Why? Be over."
This is what happens.
As I was watching it.
This is what happens when we don't record for 2 months. We forget how to
forget
stay on
how.
the topic. Which we were never good at in the first
no.
place, but now we're even worse at it.
But we always have trouble on shows that are just good.
Yeah, it's hard when a show is just all around good.
We can open the show and be like, "Hey, I like Bob's Burgers," and then you agree.
And then it's just us talking for an hour about how amazing the show is.
Normally less, because we just
sidetrack. It's good. I can't really think of any big criticisms for the show. Like, my main thing to say is, like, just go watch it. It's good.
Yeah.
Also, I need to, as I was watching the facts video, I found out that they released the soundtrack. I need that because the show has occasional musical numbers, which, for me, the best thing about cartoons is that they have occasional musical numbers and it's unquestioned. Bob's Burgers musical numbers are some of the best in cartoons.
They have been pretty great.
They are all fantastic and funny and catchy and just clever and good. I love them so much.
I think that soundtrack might be out.
It is out. It's been out for a while, I think. I think it came out last year.
I guess they'll have to add some new songs.
Yeah, there's always more.
Yeah. Bob's Burgers. It's great. Go watch it. Give it a while. I don't know what else to say. And it's not just me. I've talked to, like, Joe. He's like, I was mentioning to him one night that I was watching it with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, it's a great show. And he was like, I don't know. I've seen a couple and kind of been rather on it. So it's not just me. I think a couple people, it's meh for a while.
I think every show you need to give it a decent chance. Bob's Burgers, I would say you don't necessarily have to start at the beginning. I mean, obviously you can. It's best to start any show at the beginning. But with Bob's Burgers, if you want to see the best isn't at the beginning.
No.
But it's definitely a show worth watching.
Yes.
And if you start it and you're not that into it, I would say give it more time.
Give it more time, or maybe jump around. Because it's an animated sitcom. There's been, one two-parter I can think of?
Usually it's finales or openers. There was one 3-parter, wasn't there? Or am I crazy?
Might have been.
No, I think it was only 2. It was the one where Bob saves the town.
Yeah. I think that's also the highest stakes that the show has ever gone to. Yeah, it's only 2-parters. It's only a 2-parter. Love Bob's new episode this Sunday.
I'm looking through a list of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the lyrics of the songs as well, which are pretty short because, I mean, they're cartoon songs. But I got to one. Butts, butts, butts. Butts, 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 butts. Butts, 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 butts. Our butts, our butts, our butts are beautiful. And I think that really encapsulates the message of the show.
A Gene original. Yeah, I'm...
Another great episode, Spaghetti Western and Meatballs. I'm looking through with the songs.
Yes, that was a good one. That was also a Gene and Bob episode, which there aren't as many.
No, there's not as many of Gene and Bob.
Especially compared to like Louise and Bob, which is probably the most kid plus Bob combo.
I don't think Gene can carry an episode the way Tina or Louise can.
True. Tina's got all her teenage girl problems.
Yeah, her teenage girl problems, and Louise is a criminal mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
And also who I want to be when I grow up.
So it is a bit harder on Gene to carry an episode. He has.
He has done it.
He has. It's
to
just,
great success. It's just, I don't think it's as easy to make that character carry an episode. So there's our one criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Jean does not carry an episode as well as Tina or Louise. They're all great characters still. But
yes.
Louise is my personal favorite. Every time there's a Louise episode, I get so happy.
And mine is very obviously Bob. Because I just want Bob to be happy. And unless you have anything else to say, I think
I
that
can't think of
about
anything.
does it.
I'm sure there's something obvious that I'm missing, but I can't think of anything. Just such a cool show. Such a cool creative cast.
Just watch it. It's funny.
Yeah, just do the thing.
You got some time to kill, something on in the background you wanna
pour yourself a glass of wine and watch some Bobs.
Wanna giggle a bit at the funny tube and watch your bibbidi bobs.
We need to watch more things we hate because we're much better at talking about things when we have negative things to say.
Yeah, I was thinking that, or different opinions.
Yeah, like the reason Pixar went on so long. First of all, because there were so many movies, but also just because different opinions.
Different opinions, and also some low ones.
Mm-hmm.
Personally.
Yeah, not a lot from me, but...
So that's unlikely to happen with our next episode, which is going to be about Gravity Falls, since...
Oh, right, Gravity Falls is next. I thought Archer was next. Whoops!
Well, yeah, Gravity Falls is next. It did just end.
Yeah.
Still recovering.
Should we give you some time? We should do Archer next.
No, it's okay. And this way, Archer probably winds up closer to
the opening of it,
the
which is on your
season.
birthday.
Yeah, my gift to the world. The new season of Archer PI.
I'm pretty excited.
And I called it. I'm still so happy about that.
Yes, you did, before it was shown that it was going to be a Magnum PI season. Travell did. He did call it.
All my evidence was
I don't have to tell you, because he'll be reminding all of us for the rest of our lives.
I'll get into it in our Archer episode.
Yeah, we'll get into it then. But this is, another sneak peek of things to come.
That said, Gravity Falls next time.
Yeah, Gravity Falls next week. It just ended, so now is a great time to go watch it if you haven't yet.
And we can
so that you
talk
can join
about
us next time.
What we didn't talk about last time.
I don't remember what we talked about last time. I'll probably listen to it before.
Kind of general, and it was, well, I don't know. The show wasn't over.
Show was not over. I think. Yeah, I don't know.
What
There's a lot to
happened
talk
in the
about.
last couple episodes
lot
there.
to talk about. So go watch it, and you can listen to us talk about it, and it'll be all fresh in your mind. Another great show that you should definitely watch. Should we talk at all about, maybe just mention, Oscars just happened, Inside Out 1.
Oscars happened, Inside Out, which we were both big fans of, if you
Which
listen
you
to
knew,
the Pixar cast.
if you listened to the Pixar cast that it was in. Great show, totally deserved it.
Yes.
I did not recognize most of the other ones that were nominated.
There were a couple, if you want to just bring that up on the sideline there. I think Shaun the Sheep was mentioned, which I loved. I also was possibly one of the only people in the entire country that saw it. Yeah. Because it did incredibly poorly.
I've never been a fan of the claymation
Aardman Studios.
Yeah, those ones. I've never watched much of them. The only one I know I've watched for sure is Chicken Run, and I don't remember it at all. But it was Inside Out, Boy in the World, Shaun the Sheep, Anomalisa, and When Marnie Was There. I've only seen Inside Out.
I've heard very good things about Anomalisa, and When Marnie Was There is a Ghibli flick.
Which I'm sure is great.
Yeah.
That being said, we're not going to talk about it a lot. I just wanted to say, yay, Inside Out 1. I'm super happy. I haven't seen the others, so I technically shouldn't have an opinion, but I'm going to go ahead and say, Inside Out, best movie.
Out of the two I've seen, Inside Out and Shaun the Sheep, although Shaun the Sheep left me profoundly happy leaving the theater, Inside Out was the much better movie.
Inside Out was amazing. It was groundbreaking for kids to help explain their emotions and their feelings, and it was a great portrayal of mental illness despite being very simple, and it made me cry multiple times, and it had such amazing characters, and I'm glad it won. So congratulations, Inside Out.
Mm-hmm.
And
if you want to hear more about Inside Out,
go listen to the Pixar cast.
Pixar.
So I think we talked about it for a while.
It's got to be part 3.
Well, whatever one Incredibles is in is just Incredibles. We talk about Incredibles for a full podcast length.
Pretty much.
So find the one that Inside Out is in, or just watch them, or just listen to them all.
Yeah, there you go.
Because they're all good.
Yes. So next week, Gravity Falls. In the meantime, you can find me on Twitter at askew_glasses. And
and you can
Ricki-
find me at HRHIggy.
Yeah, I kind of left that.
HRHIGGY.
I kind of just left that open.
That's okay.
I didn't direct it to you.
There I'll be. Being funny and salty.
And you can find this podcast on iTunes and YouTube. Not on the website at the moment. There's some issues with that. It'll eventually be fixed, I'm sure.
Should we get our own website?
Well, it's on Hardly Working Hippies.
Yeah.
Or would be if there weren't issues.
Yeah.
So that'll be fixed in sometime soon. And also, you can catch Screenplay Sidekicks next week talking about Penguins in Madagascar.
Yeah.
Cartoon.
Wait, what? Oh, that's your guys' is good. Okay, I don't have to.
No.
Woo!
You can watch it. It's a funny movie.
Yeah, but there are other things to do.
You do have a busy week.
Fuck my life. I'm sure Penguins is good. I like the Madagascar movies a lot, so.
I've fallen out of favor with them, and I saw that one and loved it. Anyways.
You know what we should do a podcast on?
What?
Shark Tale.